It is like you're living outside. Day 4. 146 nautical miles, which is a record. This is so off-grid, it's not even funny.
Little Johnny eventually grew up and went on off to college.
Woo! Woo! Day 6 at sea.
As we continue to sail around the world one wave at a time.
Welcome back to Sailing Tela. Bear with me as I make my way back to my chair. All right, y'all, officially started day 4. We haven't quite ticked off the 72-hour mark to end day 3 because we left at 1:15 on Monday and it is currently 11:07 on Thursday. Anyway, we are currently crossing the Atlantic Ocean over to the Caribbean. This is our second Atlantic crossing. We crossed over, went to the Med, did all sorts of amazing things. Last year we went all the way to Rome, but the circumnavigation is not going to complete itself. Since we are circumnavigating the globe one wave at a time, it was time to cross this ocean so that we can soon get through that Panama Canal and then cross the Pacific. We actually sat down for breakfast this morning. We were having some eggs. Someone called on the radio, Telaroo, Telaroo, Telaroo. It was a cruise ship that was going the opposite direction of us, and they just wanted to ask if everything was okay on board for our crossing.
We're glad to hear this. Thank you. Just have a nice cruising. Over.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Have a great day and a great voyage as well.
It was just a very brief, quick little conversation. We've still got our downwind sailing. We've got our whisker poles up, which is what we did put up in our last video on day 1. We have seen tons of seabirds, tons of flying fish. The sunrises and sunsets have been marvelous out here.
We got our windows down, driving down the 405, sing along to the radio. We're gonna make it someday, nothing's gonna get in our way. We will be the biggest band in town. Round and round the world we'll go, putting on the greatest show. So make sure that you don't miss out, just be there. We're taking our shot, bring what you got. We're going all the way to the top. We will hear the sound of 1 million people screaming our names when we're backstage. We'll play loud, surfing the crowd. Everybody's jumping around. Yeah, that's the place where I wanna be. Going on stage, headline on a Saturday night. Oh, 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 Saturday night. Gonna quit my job, never wanna have no boss. I just wanna play my rock and roll like they do on the radio. Tommy's got brand new drums, and I still have my old guitar. And John said this next song's gonna be real good, if you know what I mean. Round and round the world we'll go, putting on the greatest show. So make sure that you...
We have officially reached the 72-hour mark. We sailed another 137.9 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. So pleased with that. We still have over 2,100 nautical miles remaining, but it feels good to be getting so many ocean miles in every 24 hours. Day 4 lunch is served. We're just gonna dip some chips and some tuna and egg. Life is simple at sea. It is dinner time on board, and we're about to have some delicious soup.
Y'all, day 5 at sea was just like any other, until it wasn't. I'd been hearing a single noise cut through the hum of wind and waves. It was subtle at first, this faint metallic tick. It was about like a fart in a whirlwind. I knew it was there, but just couldn't place it. But when you live aboard full-time 24/7, you become attuned to the boat's every little creak. This sound, this little metallic sound, was different. Good old gut intuition told me something's off, something's wrong. I began to hunt down the noise and isolated it to the stern area. The stern area is where the autopilot hydraulic rams and steering cables control the rudder. This caused a little tingle in my gut and got my attention real quick. You see, rudder failure at sea can be absolutely catastrophic. And in fact, rudder failure is the #1 cause of abandoning ship at sea. I knew finding and solving this issue was critical and up to me. I opened up the area underneath the aft berth so I could get a good look at all the mechanicals. Finally, there it was. I saw it. A steering arm knuckle bolt that was dangerously loose. In that moment, it struck me how quickly that bolt shearing off could have turned a smooth Atlantic crossing into a long, harrowing ordeal, being thousands of miles offshore with no autopilot and just a crew of 2. Out came the wrenches, and with a few turns, I tightened it down. There, it's tight now.
Yeah.
And just like that, that little metallic tick sound was gone. Problem solved. Had I ignored that single little noise, had that bolt sheared and snapped, it could have been a serious issue aboard Tela. It's these hidden, unforeseen issues at sea, the ones that unfold below the waterline or tucked deep down in a compartment below, that test us as sailors. On this day 5 of our Atlantic crossing, with a few turns of the wrenches, we passed yet another test at sea aboard good old Tela.
It is day 6 at sea here aboard sailing vessel Tela. We have not had to do anything to our sails, and we are loving that. The sea state just keeps calming down. At our 24-hour check-in about 30 minutes ago, we had sailed 682.9 nautical miles, averaging about 140 nautical miles per every 24 hours. Woo! We have less than 2,000 nautical miles remaining, not quite a quarter of the way. Shawn has seen a total of 3 ships so far on this passage, and that is all that's been seen, and I saw one of those, and it was a cruise ship. The other 2 Shawn saw on his watch. But other than that, there's been no traffic, no other signs of life out here, just us. I should probably brace myself. Okay, there we go. Brace against the mast. No dolphins or anything. This is like the epitome of off-grid. I mean, this is so off-grid, it's not even funny. We don't have Starlink or anything. Yesterday, we did check in with our family. Yesterday was Friday, today is Saturday. So we checked in with our family, let them know how we were doing, how far we had come, and all of that. So that was good. And Shawn has been downloading the weather grid files like every other day. Very thankful that we're not rolling as bad as we were. Yesterday at our 24-hour check-in, we had sailed 145 nautical miles in the previous 24 hours. And then today we had sailed 140.1, I believe, since yesterday's check-in 24 hours ago. Things are going so good, y'all. Feeling happy. But we just had a little charcuterie lunch. You know what's really interesting about this whole thing is that it's kind of like you're camping. The only time that you're actually down below is to take a shower. We shower every day on board, every night. night. All of the cooking below and then sleeping. We spend a maximum of 7 hours down there in a 24-hour period. So it is like you're living outside because we spend the rest of our time up top. That is the day 6 update. We just had a spaghetti dinner while the sun was setting. Afterwards, I went down and grabbed the camera because this is just beautiful. The most gorgeous cotton candy sky. Oh, y'all, this is magic.
Hunter S. Thompson once said, anything that gets your blood racing is probably worth doing. Out here in the middle of the Atlantic, it's the clouds, it's the rainbows, it's the wind in the sails, it's the rock and roll of the boat, it's the anticipation of the next wave, it's the anticipation of the unknown that gets your blood racing. For us aboard Tela, this is what makes crossing oceans worth doing.
Mileage update, really feeling accomplished because we're averaging about 138 nautical miles per every 24 hours. Actually, in the last 24 hours, we did sail like 146 nautical miles, which is a record. Woohoo! But we're gonna go ahead and eat and we'll check back in with more cool things later.
Well, y'all, here we are aboard good old Tela on day 7. We're over 800 miles out into the mighty Atlantic Ocean as we continue to circumnavigate the globe. We are knocking down the miles, y'all. We've been averaging about 140 miles a day, and we've been cruising along at a solid just a hair over 6 knots an hour. Y'all, I was sitting here reflecting back to 2022 when I did an offshore sailing training passage with my good friend and mentor, John Kretschmer. We sailed aboard good old Catal from Cadiz, Spain down to the Canary Islands. And y'all, during one of the days of the training passage, we got the wind good and behind us, and John set old Catal up in the traditional trade wind downwind configuration. He pulled out the head sail, and then we sheeted out the mainsail on old Catal into that majestic wing-on-wing configuration. And I remember sitting there taking it all in, and John was sitting there with me, and he said, "There you go, Shawn." He said, "You can sail all the way around the world in that configuration." And those words really stuck with me in that moment. It was just awesome taking it all in aboard Qatar. And y'all, fast forward, here we are aboard good old Tela with our double pulled out head sail in that traditional trade wind downwind configuration as we continue to sail around the world one wave at a time. This wing on wing stuff, pretty awesome, y'all.
Dinner is served via Chef Shawn.
Well, y'all, here we are late in the afternoon on day 7, crossing the Atlantic Ocean on good old Tela, and it is Cockpit 30. The sun is getting ready to do its majestic thing, and it's time for a sip. Y'all already had this good old Buffalo Trace cracked open, so let's give her a pour. Oh yeah, that's mighty fine. So y'all, here's to the ocean, here's to the wind, here's to you, my friend. Cheers. Mighty fine, y'all. Ain't nothing better than some good old Kentucky bourbon. Y'all, as you're sitting here taking all this in, I realize I hadn't shared a joke with y'all in a good while. Everybody loves a little Johnny joke. But y'all know, little Johnny eventually grew up and went on off to college. Johnny's freshman year, final exams finally rolled around. He was sitting in class, and the professor was down there in front of the class giving them their instructions for the final exam the next day. And the professor, she was giving it to them now. She was telling them, now tomorrow, everybody must take this final exam. I will not tolerate any excuses for not taking the exam. None whatsoever, she said. She said, outside of the death in the immediate family or some debilitating physical injury or illness, there's absolutely no exceptions and no excuses accepted. You must take the final exam or you will fail this class. Old Johnny was sitting in the back of the room, and he raised his hand and he said, "Professor, what if I came in tomorrow and said I was suffering from a severe, debilitating case of complete sexual exhaustion?" And the whole class was there rolling in the floor. The class finally regained their composure and calmed down, and that professor looked at Johnny and she said, "Well," she said, "I guess in that case, you just have to write the entire exam with your other hand."
I cannot believe it is already the evening of day 7 at sea. Wow, what an amazing week it has been for us here aboard sailing Tela as we cross the Atlantic Ocean over to the Caribbean. Definitely remember to click that subscribe button so that you can join us every single Friday right here on YouTube as we post brand new sailing episodes of our journey all the way around the world for our world circumnavigation. Let us know if you liked this video by giving us a big thumbs up and leaving us a comment down below. We really enjoy reading those comments. We can't wait to see what all you'll have to say. And on that note, we'll see y'all next time on Sailing Tela.